Yeah, baby, the playoffs are just around the corner. Every team has one more seeding game to play, and while the situation in the Western Conference still can and will change, we already know the bracket for the Eastern Conference. Hey guys, hope all of you are healthy, happy, and in a great mood. This is Purple Prince, and today I'll look at the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs and give you my predictions. With one game left to play, there's only one thing that can really change in the East. Miami Heat and Indiana Pacers have an identical record. Right now, Miami has the 4th seed while Indiana sits on the 5th. The teams face each other on the last game of these 8 seeding games, and it's clear that they will face each other in the first round of the playoffs as well. And since we don't have such thing as a home court advantage in these playoffs, the game really doesn't have that added value to it. But if anything, you could argue that the winner of this game will carry somewhat of momentum into the playoffs. But let's go by order. First, we have the number 1 seed of the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks, facing the number 8 seeded Orlando Magic. Yes, it's a bubble in Orlando, so you could say that the Orlando Magic is the one team that sorta has this home court advantage, but the Bucks are just so much better all around. First, they have one of the best, if not the best player in the game in Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have another all-star in Chris Middleton, and they're also deeper. And Orlando lost their starting small forward for the season in Jonathan Isaac just 3 games into the bubble. Both teams met 4 times during the regular season. All 4 times were before the bubble, and the Bucks won all those games by an average margin of 14.5 points. The Bucks carry the league's best offense. They are 3rd when it comes to making field goals, and also 3rd with 13.8 made 3-pointers a game. The only real weakness they have is free throw shooting. As a team, they are ranked just 26th in free throw percentage, and their superstar Giannis is a below average free throw shooter. Orlando Magic, on the other hand, has one of the worst offenses in the league, scoring just 106.9 points per game, number 26 in the league. They are ranked 27th in field goal percentage and 26th in 3-point percentage. They do make their free throws better than the Bucks, but I don't think the difference in the stat will be that significant since everything else is so much worse. The Bucks are also by far the best rebounding team in the league, while Orlando ranks just 15th, and they are the 6th best passing in the league, while Orlando ranks number 18th in that category. As far as defense goes, the Bucks have a top 6 defense in points allowed. They are the best defense when it comes to opponents' field goal percentage, but they rank only 15th in 3-point defense. Orlando actually is ranked right above the Bucks in points allowed, but that's because of the slower pace they play. They are ranked number 18th in opponents' field goal percentage and are just 23rd when it comes to guarding the 3-pointers against their opposition. Every way you look, Milwaukee is just miles better than Orlando. Now, because of Giannis headbutting Mo Wagner, there was a chance that he could be suspended for at least the first game of the playoffs, which would give Orlando a much better chance in Game 1. But we found out that he has been suspended only for the last seeding game of the regular season. I would love to see a path for Orlando winning at least one game, since they are pretty much the only home team in the playoffs and anything can happen. I mean, nobody expected Orlando to grab a game from Toronto in last year's playoffs, but this time around, I don't think it happens though. Milwaukee hasn't looked great in the bubble, but Orlando has been even worse, currently riding a 5-game losing streak. Add to the fact that they won't have Jonathan Isaac, and as much as I would love for the series to go more than 4 games, my prediction is that this will be a quick sweep, 4-0 in favor of Milwaukee. Moving on, we have the 2nd-seeded Toronto Raptors facing off against the 7th-seeded Brooklyn Nets. On paper, this also looks like an easy pick. Yes, Toronto lost Kawhi during the summer, but the defending champs have been great this season, even without him. Brooklyn, on the other hand, started the season without Kevin Durant. During the season, they lost Kyrie Irving, and before the bubble, they lost Spencer Dinwiddie, Taurean Prince, DeAndre Jordan, and Wilson Chandler. The Nets roster is just decimated. And that Jamal Crawford signing, he played just 6 minutes before injuring his hamstring. With all the injuries, the Nets have been playing really well in the bubble. They even beat the Los Angeles Clippers, but this is where the fairy tale ends. Let's go to some stats. The teams met each other 4 times this season, all before the bubble, and the Raptors were victorious in 3 out of 4 meetings. Toronto has the 13th best offense in the league, scoring 112.7 points per game. They do miss some shots, ranking just 21st in field goal percentage, but they compensate for that with excellent distance shooting, 37.2% success rate from the deep, the 6th best in the league. They convert their free throws, number 7 in the league, and they are decent in rebounding the ball, number 12 in the league. For the Nets, they have a slightly worse offense, number 17, slightly worse field goal percentage, number 26, and even with Joe Harris in the lineup, they convert on only 34.2% of their three-pointers, number 25 in the league. They are bad in shooting free throws, also number 25, but they are the second best rebounding team in the league. All these offensive stats though, you have to take into account that all their best players did contribute for a good portion of that, and now they don't have them anymore. Defensively, that's where Toronto gains some ground. It has the best defense in the league, allowing their opponents to score just 106.5 points per game. They are the second best in field goal percentage and the best guarding the three-point line. Brooklyn, on the other hand, ranks 18th, 5th, and 9th in those categories. Again, these are the stats from the whole regular season, so I assume if we would look just at the players in the bubble, the stats would be much worse for the Nets. Both teams have looked very good in the bubble, but I just don't see the Raptors, being the defending champions, slipping even once in the series. They have the better team, the better coach, the better experience. My prediction, also a sweep, although some games might be close. This year was never supposed to be the year in which Brooklyn contends for a championship. Toronto will. 4-0, Toronto wins and moves on. Next we have the third-seeded Boston Celtics going against the sixth-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. This was supposed to be such a great matchup, but now it seems that all the intrigue has been killed. Ben Simmons had left knee surgery and is expected to miss the rest of the season. Joel Embiid is banged up with an ankle injury, and there's no certain answer about him playing in the series. And even if he does, can he stay healthy? Well, Philly does have two other 100 million men, but they aren't the stars. Once again, let's go into some stats. The teams met 4 times during the regular season, and actually Philly won 3 of those meetings. But Ben Simmons played in all of those games and Joel Embiid played in 3 of them. If none of them plays, it could be a fast wrap. For the whole season, the theme for the Sixers was, is this a home game or a road game? They were virtually unbeatable at home and one of the worst teams on the road. Now, on neutral grounds, you just wonder how much that impacts their performance. They currently are carrying a 3-game losing streak, while the Celtics are complete opposite. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Celtics have the 9th best offense in the league. They are 15th in field goal percentage and 11th in three-point percentage. Celtics also make 80% of their free throws, which ranks 5th in the league, and rebound the ball pretty well, 8th in the league. Philadelphia, meanwhile, are just 21st in points per game, 12th in field goal percentage, and 12th in three-point percentage. They are much worse in converting their free throws, 22nd in the league, and even with Embiid and Horford, they are worse in rebounding, 10th in the league. Defensively, Boston holds their opponents to 107.5 points per game, 3rd best. They are 4th in opponents' field goal percentage and 2nd in opponents' three-point percentage. Basically, they're great defensively. Philadelphia isn't half bad as well, holding their opponents to 108.5 points per game, 8th in the league, but they do allow opponents to shoot 46.3% from the field and 35.6% from the 3, both 16th best marks in the league. So with all that in mind, what can we expect in this series? We know Ben Simmons won't be there, but that could actually be a blessing in disguise. The Simmons-Embiid combo hasn't really worked in big moments, and with Simmons failing to develop a consistent outside shot, you saw Embiid sticking behind the three-point line way too much. Now, with Simmons out of the lineup, Embiid, if healthy, could really punish the Celtics inside the paint. There's nobody big enough on the Celtics to really give Embiid problems in the paint, but that is a big if, his health. If Embiid stays healthy and somehow leads the 76ers past the Celtics, I think it could be a big sign that Simmons is the one who needs to be traded away to form a new team, a different style of a team, preferably with a point guard who can shoot. And another question in the series, a big one in my opinion, is this it for Brett Brown as the head coach of the Sixers? The guy has been there for a while and he's the Marvin Lewis of the NBA, having great talent but unable to lead the team to anything meaningful. How long will he stick around if they keep failing? From Boston's perspective, you have to feel like the best team in the series. Not only you have a better all-around team, but you have a better record, better performances so far in the bubble, and you actually have a lot of good players who can close for you when necessary. I'll assume Joel Embiid is healthy going into the series, and if so, they even have a chance to win this. If he's dominant inside, that will open up some opportunities for the shooters, and a lot of good things can happen. But even with everything going right, I do think Boston is a better team, and my prediction is that they close the series in 6 games. 4-2, Boston wins. Philadelphia hopefully gets a different head coach and they think real hard before going into another season with the pairing of Embiid and Simmons. And last but not least, we have the Miami Heat facing off against the Indiana Pacers. We don't know yet who will be the 4th or the 5th seed, but we know they'll play each other in the first round of the playoffs. First things first, TJ Warren has been absolutely spectacular for the Pacers. He started his bubble journey with 53 points against Philadelphia and has had 3 more 30-plus point performances since. He just might be the hottest player coming into the series. Oladipo, after all, is playing for the Pacers, but his contributions so far have been rather insignificant. Insignificant as to comparing to the All-Star level he was playing at before his injury. On Miami's side, you always have your All-Stars in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero just scored career-high 30 points, and Kendrick Nunn is about to finish his quarantine. So far in this season, both teams have met 3 times with Miami winning all 3 meetings. They will meet again for the last game of the bubble, but I would expect none of the teams will fully play their best players considering nothing is really on the line. Miami has the league's 15th best offense, scoring 112.3 points per game. They are 8th in field goal percentage and the best team in the league in making their 3-pointers. They're average when it comes to making free throws and rebounding the ball. Indiana doesn't score as much, 23rd in the league, but they are 3rd in field goal percentage and 13th in making their 3-pointers. They are slightly better in converting their free throws, but they're also a bottom 5 rebounding team. Defensively, Indiana has the edge, ranking 4th in opponents' points per game, while Miami is 11th. Both teams are neck and neck in opponents' field goal percentage. Miami is 7th and Pacers are 8th. And they're also quite similar guarding the 3-point line. Indiana is 4th, while Miami ranks 7th. Seems like a very close matchup, and it should be. All around, I would say the Heat have a better roster, and if you ignore Warren's recent rise and remember that Oladipo is still not 100%, you could say that the Heat have the 2 best players in the series in Butler and Adebayo. Man, this should be close. I do think that Miami will win though. I don't know why, I just always want to think that Pat Riley will figure everything out and the experience of Erik Spoelstra in leading a team into deep runs will prevail. There are just so much more proven things with Miami. Coach, their best players. I also don't expect Warren to be as hot as he was in the beginning of the bubble. And Oladipo probably won't return to his All-Star form this season. My prediction? The games in this series are very close, but Miami will win most of them. 4-2. Indiana will make it interesting and snatch a couple of games, maybe in the first one of the series, but in the end, Heat beats the Pacers in 6 games and moves on to the second round. So these are my predictions for the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. I don't think I went bold with any of my predictions, I just don't see any upsets here. What do you think, guys? Who wins? What happens? Is there any possible upset I'm missing on? Please leave a comment below with your predictions. Don't forget to leave a like for the video, share it with your friends so they can make their predictions, and at the end of the day, please subscribe to the channel to enjoy more basketball content. As soon as we find out the last seed for the West, the predictions for the Western Conference will be out as well. Thanks. That's it from me now. This was Purple Prince, and I'm out.